Imagine a doctor you've never met signs a paper you're never allowed to see. And boom, you're mad. You're carted to a gloomy brick palace where baths are ice, medicine is opium, and privacy is a rumour. Welcome to the Victorian Asylum. Question is, would you survive the visit? Before we check you in, go ahead and lock yourself into this channel, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss our next historical horror show. It's free, and unlike 19th century therapy, it won't scar you for life. Stick close, don't make eye contact with the matron, and for the love of God, don't mention master. Quick primer, so we're on the same haunted page. We're talking roughly 1837 to 1901 in Britain, the boom years of purpose-built county asylums. On paper, many promised enlightened moral treatment, routine, work, fresh air. In practice, overcrowding turned a lot of them into human warehouses with sermons. Think red brick Hogwarts, if Hogwarts specialised in sleep deprivation and bromide. Victorians didn't say mental health. They said lunacy, hysteria, melancholia, religious mania, monomania, or my personal favourite, insanity from unseemly personal behaviour. That's done when you're bored and alone. I'll let you infer what that one means on your own. How you get in. 2 signatures. That's usually all it took. Under British lunacy laws, 2 medical certificates plus an order from a relative or magistrate could have you locked up, for your safety and others. So what gets you inside? Grief that lasted too long. Childbirth complications, puerperal insanity. Syphilis, it shows up later as general paralysis of the insane. Drink intemperance was a favourite. Overwork, religious excitement, political agitation and, if you're a woman, basically existing too loudly. Even reading novels could be medically suspicious, which explains absolutely everything about the Victorians. Alright, let's lace up our 1800s boots and see how you would fare behind those iron gates. You arrive at the asylum gates in a rumbling carriage. You, dear viewer, are our test subject. The porter's keyring looks like a medieval chandelier. You're escorted to the receiving room, a long table, a crucifix, and a ledger thicker than a family Bible. A doctor asks rapid-fire questions without looking up. Name? Occupation? Religion? Do you sleep? Any self-abuse? You blink. He writes anyway. The matron inventories your belongings. Your belt, shoelaces and hairpins are taken for safety. Your clothes are exchanged for institution grey with a number stitched inside. Privacy note, no doors lock from the inside. Only the staff carry keys. You're shown a dormitory, rows of iron beds, thin blankets, a window too high to see out. Over the lintel are framed rules of the house. Rise at 5, work if capable, no speaking in the corridors, no obstinacy, extremely subjective. You're parched, an attendant offers a tonic. Bromide and chloral, Victorian NyQuil. Do you A. Drink and drift into heavy, dreamless sleep, or B. Refuse and stay alert? If you chose A, you'll sleep, but wake with cotton mouth and a sedative hangover. You miss roll call, the attendant marks you sluggish, may require stimulus. If you chose B, you're noted resistant. Enjoy night watch. An attendant checks you every 15 minutes with a lantern. 0 REM, a lot of squinting. Either way, you learn fast. Compliance buys quiet, defiance buys supervision. Welcome to moral treatment. A day in the wards. At sunrise, the asylum wakes. Men and women are kept separate, often in entirely different blocks. Work is therapy, laundry, sewing, gardening, boiler duty, farm chores. If you can labour, you will. Idleness, doctors write, feeds delusion. Breakfast, gruel, bread, tea. If you're lucky, porridge with treacle on Sundays. Coffee? Cute. Your day is a loop of exercise yards and day rooms. The walls sport inspirational slogans. Order is health, hope endureth. In the corners, a harmonium for hymns. The asylum believes music soothes the brain. And also, people sing nicer when they're being watched. Non-restraint note. Some institutions, famously Hanwell, prided themselves on eliminating mechanical restraints like straitjackets. Mostly. In reality, non-restraint often meant seclusion rooms, a locked padded cell, and chemical restraint, hello again, bromide. Hydrotherapy. No, it's not a spa. It's prolonged baths. Either cold plunges for agitation, or warm sheets and continuous baths for days to calm. Imagine being a rotisserie chicken, but sad and pruny. Religious services, chaplains visit, sermons about order and obedience hit different when you're not allowed to leave the building. Visitors, once a week maybe, under supervision. You are not alone, but you are never private. Diagnosis, bingo. Let's talk labels. Because your survival depends on what they write next to your name. Melancholia, deep depression, guilt, refusal of food. Treatment, routine, feeding, tonics, sometimes force feeding by stomach tube if you resist. Mania, agitation, fast talk, sleeplessness. Treatment, seclusion, cold baths, sedatives. Monomania, fixating on one idea. Jealousy, persecution, genius. Treatment, discipline and diversion, so chores. Hysteria, for women. A catch-all for anxiety, trauma, chronic pain, rebellion, PMS, or being inconvenient. Treatment, rest cures, isolation, aggressive don't be dramatic energy. General paralysis of the insane. Late-stage syphilis. Starts as euphoria and grand ideas, ends in paralysis and dementia. Treatment. Tragically none in the 19th century. Dipsomania, alcoholism. Treatment, asylum dryness and moral lectures. If you're poor, you're labelled pauper and shipped to a massive county asylum. If you're rich, you get a private licensed house. Think boutique asylum with nicer curtains and fewer rats. Money doesn't buy sanity, but it does buy carpets and china. Treatments and science. The Victorian toolkit is a mood. Sedatives, bromides, chill you out, chloral hydrate, sleep, opium and laudanum. Mother's Little Helper, Victorian edition. Effective, sometimes. Addictive, oh deeply. Purgatives and emetics. If the doctor thinks your humours are off, welcome to calomel, also known as mercury, castor oil and the bucket. Dietary cures, bland food, no spices, because obviously nutmeg causes rebellion. Work therapy. Orderly labour was supposed to reboot the mind. For many, it was just free labour. Seclusion and quiet rooms, because nothing says healing like a time out in a padded closet. Hydrotherapy. From brisk douches to sheet packs, your burrito wrapped in wet sheets until you surrender. Important timeline check. No lobotomies or electroconvulsive therapy in the Victorian era. Those are 20th century horrors. Your Victorian nightmares are colder, quieter and longer. Okay, survival time. You've been here 2 weeks. To get discharged quickly, you need to convince the staff you're safe, predictable and boring. Victorian virtues. It's mealtime. Do you A. refuse food on principle? B. eat the porridge like it's a Michelin star? If you chose B, you won. Congratulations. Refusal equals obstinate. Hello, stomach tube. Next, you're speaking with the medical officer. He asks if you hear voices. Do you go with A. say yes because you're dramatic, and also last night you swear the pipes were whispering? Or B. say I'll sleep now? The routine helps. I will be much improved. Of course, said with a polite smize. The winner, B. improvement narrative is discharge bait. Your final test, a work assignment, laundry, garden or ward cleaning. Laundry is hot, crowded and gossipy. Staff watch it like hawks. Ward cleaning puts you near medication cupboards, suspicious. Garden is outside, visible, and screams wholesome. The winner, garden. Fresh air is a moral therapy gold star. Also easier to look dreamy and cured among geraniums. How you get out. Discharge requires paperwork, a relative, and a narrative. Your file must say recovered or relieved. Physicians love words like steady, useful, and amenable to guidance. Translation, play normal. If you can present as tidy, industrious, and not a sermon risk, you might leave with a caution to avoid excitement. Parties, novels, strong tea, sex, politics, basically fun. If you relapse, back you go. The revolving door was real. So, would you survive a Victorian asylum visit? If you're male, middle class, and your trouble is grief or overwork, your odds are decent, especially early in the era, before asylums overflowed. If you're poor, female, or labelled with syphilis-related insanity, your visit could become a residence. The system was built to tidy society's discomforts, not cure them. If this trip gave you chills, good. Victorian mental health care was a cocktail of good intentions and bad science, served ice cold. If you want more Gothic chaos, I've got a whole episode on Victorian seances and another on why grave robbers wanted your body. Pick your poison on the end screen. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment, and watch our other videos about the hot mess that was the Victorian era. Which treatment would have broken you first? Cold baths, sedatives, or the porridge? And hey, if you're reading novels tonight, maybe keep that between us.